All right, good morning, good people. I intended to do this video last night, but apparently we all found out that the Brooklyn shooter is actually a YouTuber, fellow YouTuber like the rest of us who come out and we do these videos. But let me get started real quick. I got to play my man, Dr. John Henry Clark, before I even get into breaking down this young gentleman and his misconception of foundational Black Americans and how we feel about immigration. I think he's a little bit off wrong, and he's trying to, I guess, clout chase or make a little name for himself. But we're going to break down a few. I ain't even going to be long with this one, but let's listen to the brother right here.
People's home because no one ever threw them away. Grandma and grandpa. No word for orphanages. We did all of this, and over half of human civilization was over before we knew that a European was in the world. Before he wore a shoe or lived in a house that had a window. Now, Africa has always and still is the prize for the whole world. We as a people have always been the world's richest people, culturally rich, mineral rich. We have always been the prize because we have always had and still have something that other people won't, think they can't do without, and don't care to pay for. Because we have always been the prize, we have been under siege for over 3,000 years. Nothing that ever brought into Africa from the outside was meant to do the Africans any good. That means all other religions. Islam was the handmaiden of Arab imperialism. Christianity was the handmaiden of European imperialism. The Hebrew faith was the handmaiden of a concept called the chosen people. Now, if God is kind and God is merciful and God has no stepchildren, he won't choose one over the other. And to say he chose some people, you're making him a bigot. And to say that he endorsed enslavement of one people over the other, you're making him an accessory to murder.
Yo, wow, every time I try to do this one particular video, something happens. Happened last night, and it's happening right now. So let's, I think I got it now. All right. So look, I ain't even gonna do it. We're just gonna talk to the young man. The fair use. This is for educational purposes only. So since the video,
welcome back to my channel. I'm your humble one and only Obinna, and in today's video we are going to briefly be talking about foundational Black Americans. And according to Tariq Hashid, foundational Black Americans are Black people who already existed in America even before slavery.
I don't know why he seems perplexed that that notion or quotation. They came before Columbus. Christopher Columbus also stated he seen black people when he came here. Africans were traveling according to their historical documents on boats, traveling and trading in this area. A lot of Native Americans were black people, then classified as Negro. But come on, let's keep going.
Now, how does that sound? Because personally, for me, and according to what I've read through history, past, and all those stuffs, I can attest to the fact that every Black person who has a black skin is from Africa.
Uh, White people are from Africa, bro. Here's the quagmire. White people have African in their blood. Let's keep going.
Like, this is our continent. Africa is known for our blackness, and no matter how.
Again, to that point, Africa is known for their blackness. What about Tasmania? What about Australia? Are those Africans? Are the Australian Aborigines Africans? No, they're not. Right? How about the Samoans? Are they African? How do you classify them? At what point do people stay and become generations of a people in a particular area that they drop the African? Do you call Europeans Africans because they came out of Africa, right? You call the Arabs African because they came out of Africa, right? What about the Iranians? Do you call them African? They came out of Africa, right? There's their dark ones. How about them dark Pakistani Indians and Pakistanians? Are they African? You see where the dumbness starts? They want to claim something and they want to say in the history books, but who gave you those books? And in their books, have you read their books? Because I've read their books. Let's keep going. Hold on. Let's keep going.
Naive and foolish you try to sound because you feel like you've not been to Africa just because of slavery and all those stuffs. It doesn't still change the fact that you may have been from Ghana or Nigeria or South Africa. Like, you're African, bro, so stick to that. Anyways, according to the
No, we are not African. Again, I always ask this question. And how many generations does it take for you to be disassociated with a particular continent, right? These Irish, Italians, they came to America late 1800s, early 1900s. They claim to be American. At what point or how many generations did it take for them to become American if we're not even talking 100 years? So we're talking just a little over 100 years. Come on.
the arguments given by the foundational Black Americans, they
And that finger quote, that's highly disrespectful. Are you Igbo? Are you Fulani? Are you Yoruba? I mean, do I want to finger quote who you supposed to be? Come on, bro.
say that they are not Africans, rather they are foundational Black Americans. Like the name says, they've been in America even before America, or sorry, slavery existed, and they are the real citizens of America. Now, why?
And how are we not citizens of America if we were here before America was even founded as a country? Remember, we fought in Revolutionary Wars too. Crispus Attucks, right? Fought the Civil War, right? Come on. Come on.
Why did the clash happen between Africa, and foundational Black Americans? Now, foundational Black Americans came out to say that they have an issue with immigration. They actually
Foundational Black Americans came out and said, does immigration benefit us? Foundational Black Americans were the ones who ensured Africans were able to immigrate to America. This is what was stated. This is what the topic was.
made some kind of lamentations that immigrants probably come to the country and take advantage of the resources they built and the freedom they fought for, get better education, get better jobs, take their jobs, make them.
No, what is said is that you guys come here with the things that we fought for, the rights to get in college, affirmative action, some of these programs that were designed for African Americans. And then once you come here, you look and say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps while using the tools we created to provide you the chance to even come here. Finger quotes in the air, right? Let's go.
Money, get a good life, and doesn't really relate to.
I don't know what good life he talking about. I lived in New York City. If a good life is driving Ubers all day, sending illegal stolen cars back to your, if that's a good life, okay.
What it means to be a black American, which I have to give them the props for the hard work, for the freedom fights and everything they've all done for black Americans.
We fought for the freedom fights for all of you people. In fact, Black Americans were also helping with the South African apartheid regime. We were very much in strength and unison with that. But carry on.
Because definitely it is not for the white people. The issue of you saying you did these things for immigrants, I don't really support that. I understand what they're trying to say, anyways. It's more of us or we as black people fighting white supremacy, which I totally understand. How does immigration benefit black Americans? Now, personally, for me, I feel like immigration is not created to benefit the citizens of that country in a sense.
So that mindset right there is already a problem. Immigration is not set to. Well, why did the Europeans come here? Why do they come here? Why do they come to this country?
Or a part of the citizen of that country. If you ask me how does immigration benefit America, like it benefits in a whole lot of ways, and it benefits in international economy, it benefits in international treaties and international relationship. It comes to business and all those stuff. But aside that, it benefits when a Nigerian leaves our country to go to the United States to study and pay over $70,000 annually for good 4 years. That is equivalent to over or approximately $300,000 just to get a bachelor's degree. Now that's how you all eat.
But you guys come with scholarships intended or created for foundational Black Americans to achieve these goals because we were so prohibited from achieving these goals and restricted from achieving these goals. We had to fight here for those goals. And we also, in fighting, provided that same opportunity to our brethren, quote unquote, finger quote, to the African community. But they've been talking about pull yourself up by your bootstraps, finger quotes, right?
Of our money. So yes, immigration benefits America, but does it benefit a side of America who they call themselves foundational Black Americans? I don't know. Yes, because yes, they are all citizens of America, but if they really want it to benefit them alone, I don't think that makes sense. Foundational Black Americans actually brought up a space, and they talked about it, and they were like, okay, end immigration, like what's happening. That, and I understand the point of view. Some of the points here they made were, number one, that Africans, or rather immigrants, when they come over to United States, they don't really especially this one was redirected to Africans, basically, that they don't really like see themselves as part of the Black Americans. They already have this ideology that we Africans already have a stereotype of them, and we call them Akata. And that was my first time hearing the word Akata. I have never heard the word Akata, and I don't even know where the language that comes from, basically. So
I hate when they're disingenuous. You might be young, but when they have songs called "Stay Away from the Akata," you're being very disingenuous.
they actually said that Africans call them that, and they are always not so close. Like they give this distance, and you definitely tell when an African is.
Yes, they do keep their distance. And for example, how many African immigrants died in the Bronx fire in that building? It was 16 people that was buried. I know because it happened up the street from my daughter. And I seen the whole African community there to bury their own.
There, and when a black American is there, like there's no connection. And personally, for me, I feel that that's bullshit. The relationship I'm seeing between Africans and African American, or rather foundation black Americans, I can tell that these people are close. Like, why the negative painting and all those stuff? And this also doesn't change the fact that African Americans also call Africans names. So it's like
African Americans call everybody names. We call each other names. It's called shooting the dozens. If you can't take a joke, that's sad. But you can diminish or demean people when you're angry.
when one wants something, so it shouldn't be a big stress. African Americans make jests of our accents. African Americans make jests of our name and would kind of deliberately call your name in a way that you wouldn't like. African Americans make jests of your language. They make jests of your fashion sense. They also make jests of your skin if you're very dark. And I think it's pretty.
Africans make fun of Africans in their language. Africans make fun of Africans in their skin. What are you talking about, bro? Have you been on Twitter and listened to the Somalis versus South Africans, the Zimbabweans versus South Africans, the Nigerians versus South Africans? Where have you been? Because I listen to Twitter and I've been on Twitter for years, and I look at the African community and how they talk about each other. And I can narrow it down to just Nigeria and how they act. But let's take it to Cameroon and how the French Cameroonians treat the English-speaking Cameroonians. I mean, what are you talking about? And they are not cracking jokes. They are killing each other.
It's pretty much normal. So I don't know why the hate is there. And if you actually come
I'm trying to figure out how many black. Listen, if we make fun of your accent, it's all right. We make fun of New Yorkers, make fun of country people. Country people make fun of New Yorkers. They say, yo, son. Be like, I don't know, I reckon. We all do it. So it's disingenuous. If you feel offended by it, then maybe this is not a country you should want to be in or accept. If you feel African Americans jokes are hurtful or harmful to your, I don't know, presence.
to the space to tell Tari that yeah, these things also face that we also face some kind of oppression from our fellow black Americans.
Whoa. They face oppression from African Americans here. I'm going to need some real example. I'm going to need some video evidence, some written evidence. The black Nigerian man who was just killed by the white woman. And I know this video was made prior to that. Look at his Twitter tweets. Now, some people say he was 6. I don't care what age he was. Look at what he said.
Cuts you off because he feels like no, you don't have a right to say all those things. I must say personally that Tariq Hashid came off very, very rude to Africans. And yes, why is it African right now? Even when he generally was talking about immigrants, the reason was when he did the space, who gave them time? Africans were the people who gave him the listening ears, and I can tell that more than 50% of the Africans were Nigerians, and around 80% of the people who spoke for Nigerians came from Nigeria, right? Yeah, they came from Nigeria. Some of them were Ghanaians, Ethiopians, Somalians, and some other countries like that. But before I continue, I just want to make it clear that South Africa is not worthy to be in the continent called Africa, because I can't believe that there's something going on against Africa generally as a whole, and you would go on to support the people fighting your own continent, and only because of the hate you have for Nigerians. But I understand anyways. I understand you're kind of
the South Africans kicked the Nigerians out. In fact, the word xenophobia was highly used recently when it came to the South Africans and the Nigerians and the things that were going on inside that nation. Never talked about those white people, though, did they?
eaten up by the white supremacy very well. And I think that this kind of fight should be really your fight. But no, you chose to stand for your opponents, which is okay. We already understood your stand. And I mean, going back to the space, Taikashi came off very rude, very arrogant. He was very insultive to Africans. In fact,
so when those Africans were saying we ain't nothing but baby mamas, crackheads, we need to go to jail, we ghetto, we uneducated. That's not insulting or arrogant. That we are not educated. That's not insulting or arrogant. We are slave Katinpika. We don't have a tribe. We don't know who we are. We don't have a culture, which it looks like you're wearing some of our culture now. That's not coming off rude or arrogant. Wow, bro. Wow.
After his space, so many black foundational black Americans basically opened space and they were insulting and making jest of Africans, insulting their accents, insulting their names, like they were doing a lot of things. And
No, I think it was called retaliation. That is called retaliation, or in our ghetto, baby mama go to jail terms, it's called a clapback. But if you felt insulted by that, the insult started when he started to define us as foundational black Americans, made us a specific people or group, and then said that we as a specific people or group are looking for a specific tangible thing from America. We're not asking anything from Nigeria. We're not asking anything from Congo or South Africa or Zimbabwe or Somalia. We're talking to the American government, and here inside this American government, we're saying we're foundational black Americans, and as such, we are owed reparations, and we need to be defined as such.
it came off very annoying to literally all Africans because like you're just doing this thing. Like what's there? I don't see any problem where as I am African and I come over to a country where my resources from my continent are being taken from. And in the same time, I'm still paying for all these things, like thousands of dollars for all these things, for education, for good life. And being the intelligent me, I graduated with very good education and academics. And yes, because I did good, I get recruited to a US company and I start working, I get good pay and living a good life. Why are you having an issue with that? At the last time I checked,
I'm sorry. What I used to have a Haitian doctor when I was a kid. There was a black lady when I was a younger kid that had afro. I missed that lady, but I got older. She wasn't able to give me the lollipops and the little needles with the cat face and draw on me. Right, but the next dude was a Haitian dude. You think I had a problem with him? I've been to many doctors, Nigerians. I applaud you guys becoming doctors and nurses and getting that education and actually being a part of society and healing people. We applaud that. So who's hating on you, bro? I really want to know who's hating on you. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson and Sergeant Willie P. Because those foundational black Americans also studied to be doctors.
the last time I actually checked, most of the people who are actually coming or migrating are Asians, like the Latinos, Asians, and I don't know why Africans is just the littlest, like lowest.
So are you separating yourself from Haitians? Listen, I'm just 2 more minutes, and then I got to do something else.
It's just the least percentage of immigrants. Why are you so disturbed and mad towards African, especially in Nigeria? Like, what's your damn issue? In the same time, I will blame both Africans and I won't blame Africa at the issue in the beginning time because even me personally, I felt like yes, they all need to be insulted. Like, take a bite of the same food you've been giving us. Like, don't do it. But anyways, after 3 days, or sorry, after 1 week of causing the black backlash between Africans and foundational Black Americans, it went off yesterday morning. Ethiopians and Somalians actually opened the space. Hashtag cancel Tariq Hashid. Damn it, it was tough. These people literally gave Tariq Hashid and his colleagues a dose of their own medicine, and trust me, it was tough. These people, I don't understand this space because I wasn't on space. I just came on Twitter and I saw people talking about it, and I was like, okay, what's happening here? And people were saying that everything was just directional towards foundational Black Americans. But in the same way, people were saying that they generalize it to also other Africans, that they don't see themselves as Black, but they see themselves as Arabs. Like that's another set of foundational Black Americans. So I don't know. This generation is having too much opinion, are just being allowed to the point that even
All right, we're going to end that. Listen, if you went to Nigeria right now, there are several tribes. I believe 3 main tribes: Yoruba, Fulani, and Igbo. And one of them is a ruling tribe. The rest of them don't like it. I know there's Douale in Cameroon. And I'm not even going to go into the rest of the stuff. The Somaliland, they have the Tigray verse, whatever. All within the continent, all fighting each other. killing and slaughtering each other. So to come here and talk that stuff, and it sounded like you had a little sleight of hand towards the Haitians, I think you got it all wrong, and you just want a part or to be a piece of something. Listen, Black Americans have not hated on you Africans for quite some time. This generation is different. We looked at the past. We saw what came before us. And we're looking at what has been laid in front of us for now. And what we see is disrespect. And it's time we stand out, stand apart, and stand on our own as Americans who've been here for over 400 years. It's going to come a point in time where you guys are just going to have to accept it. You can take parts of our culture, steal parts of our rap. But the truth is, white people is coming for whatever you guys got going on. They just took the reggae and they're coming for Afro beats next. So listen, it's not just Tariq that needs to stop. It's all of you. We are self-defining. We are defining ourselves. And if you have a problem with that, just eat it. Because we're not coming at you for being different tribes. We're not asking you to go stop Boko Haram. You're here in this country reaping the benefits of this struggle, of Selma, of dogs biting children, of fire hoses, of civil rights movements, of Jim Crow. You're now reaping the benefits that our ancestors had to go through. Lynchings, burnings, towns being flooded, whole towns being burnt to the ground. Economics destroyed time and time again. And still we rise. And still we fought. And here you are. We are different. We are defined by differentness. And we are influential. In fact, we would be the most popular tribe of them all. The most influential tribe of them all. Granted, there were a few others who came in to help, i.e. Marcus Garvey. But listen, we are foundational Black Americans, descendants of slaves. We are Americans. My grandfather fought in World War I. He went to go fight for Ethiopia and Haile Selassie because of the Italians, but they wouldn't let us go there. Came back, built railroads. They give it to the Chinese. Chinese built a few lines from the West Coast, and they had help. But again, you guys come here with this disrespect and this arrogance as if we're not allowed to define ourselves, as if we should be. We didn't label ourselves African American. Before that, we were Negro, colored, and a bunch of other names. I thought you studied history. A lot of y'all should go back and read some of that history, because this rhetoric is full of hatred, misinformation, and if you're not paying attention, you're part of the problem. And that's why we need to separate ourselves from others. You should be a proud Nigerian. You should be a proud Haitian. You should be a proud Somali. You should be a proud South African. You should be a proud Jamaican. You should be proud of who you are. When we want to be proud of who we are, these are the results. Now, I have some Twitter spaces recorded of what you guys say about us. This is why we're self-defining. And it ain't just Tariq. It's a bunch of us. This is why we tried to warn y'all. Now y'all got y'all brothers coming up dead. Both of them, I believe, shot by the cop in his house. The dude that was jogging, I don't believe he was a foundational Black American. Stood up for Ahmaud Arbery. Right? And now this gentleman, Tony, who was just stabbed by the white woman. And it got to the point so far that your guys' rhetoric, your guys' animosity, your guys telling us that we're not anything or any tribe and we don't have a culture. Now we're not standing up for justice for you. And these are the consequences of these titles and these videos and what is a foundational Black American? Well, what is a Yoruba? What happened in Rwanda? I have questions too. Can you answer those? Can you define that? Aren't you defined by who you are as a Nigerian, and then even go further to who you are as a tribe in Nigeria? Stop it. Foundational Black Americans or descendants of slaves are going to be who we're going to be. We are a different people. We are a different culture. We are a different tribe. We are a mixture, granted, of not only Native Americans that were Black, but we're also a mixture of Nigerians or West Africans who were shipped here. But at what point or how many generations does it take for us to become a different people? How long did it take for the Australian Aborigines to become them, or the people in Madagascar or Tasmania, those people who were wiped off the face of the earth? You guys are being very disingenuous with this argument, with your stance, with your positions. And I hope you hear this video and kind of get some clarity as to why we are self-defining ourselves. Have a good day.